Hi everyone. A canon may be defined as a composition in which the parts or voices enter successively at determined pitch and time intervals, all performing the same melody. Perhaps we could add to this definition that the same melody may be combined with itself in a variety of ways, including directly or inverted, augmented or diminished, or in retrograde. Canons may also be finite, in which the parts discontinue the process after a specific time, or infinite or perpetual, where the canon could theoretically continue indefinitely. Familiar examples of infinite canons are what we know today as rounds. Rounds may be defined as a simple type of vocal perpetual canon at the unison or octave in which each part sings the whole melody an indefinite number of times. A well-known round is Frère Jacques, whose 8-bar melody consists of 4 figures, each repeated. Here the canon's initial voice or part, called the leader, is performed for only 2 bars before the second voice, the follower, begins. In other styles of canon, the distance between leader and follower, or followers, may be larger or smaller, while in a round the distance is set and is the same for all parts. The leader also contains the canon's subject, which is a non-specific section typically consisting of the initial few bars of the leader's part. In Frère Jacques, when the second voice enters, a 2-voice loop is created, and although more voices may be added to this 2-part canon, for the purposes of this video I will only use 2. Harmonically, this round is very simple, with only the tonic and dominant or leading note harmonies being used. Also, because it's written at the unison, both parts are exact in terms of intervallic distances between their notes. Here, for example, the 2 major second steps and major third leap of the opening bars are the same in the following voice, as are the minor second followed by the major second in these bars, and so on. While canons at the unison or octave will always produce exact intervals in all parts, canons at other intervals, such as at the second or third, for example, will only produce generically equivalent rather than exact intervals. Here in this hypothetical canon opening, for example, if the second voice enters at the interval as second from the first, the semitone between the leader's third and fourth notes is now between the follower's second and third. Only with canons at the distance of a fourth or fifth is it also possible to produce intervallically exact canons, although for this to be effective, the melodic shape of the leader must avoid certain notes. For example, if we again take the previous hypothetical canon opening and begin the follower voice at the intervals of a fourth and fifth above, we see that the entry on G follows exactly the leader, with the semitone between E and F of the leader now occurring between B and C in the follower. The entry on F, however, while initially following the leader exactly, includes here a major instead of a minor second. Here a B flat would be needed to maintain the strict intervallic distances. Care must be taken in these instances, however, because unless a modulation is desired, the work could simultaneously sound in 2 keys. Canons may be part of a larger work. For example, the first 7 bars of J.S. Bach's Invention No. 8 in F major are written as a canon at the octave. Or the canon may form a complete work, of which there are many examples at the octave, unison, and at various other intervallic distances. As mentioned earlier, canons may begin at various intervallic distances and may use many different canonic devices, some of which I'll look at in detail in other videos. Canons may include 2, 3, 4, 5, or any other number of parts. Often these canons are simply described as being 2-part, 3-part, or 4-part canons, but may also be labelled A2, A3, A4, etc., or double, triple, and quadruple canons. There is, however, also another common way of labelling them. A 2-part canon, for example, if it contains only a single subject, can also be labelled as a 2-in-1 canon. The 2 refers to the number of parts and the 1 to the number of subjects. Frère Jacques, for example, could be labelled this way. The following example by J.S. Bach, which contains 2 canons at the octave, would be labelled a 4-in-2 canon, as there are 4 parts and 2 subjects. Methods for describing score layouts of canon essentially follow those for other music. For example, a canon written out in full is termed an open canon. While this format is common, traditionally canon were often only written on a single staff with numbers and signs sometimes added to show when and where the other parts were to enter. A canon written in this way is termed a close canon. This open score excerpt shows the opening 12 bars of a 4-in-1 canon by W.A. Mozart. Each part enters at the distance of 3 bars from the previous. The leader enters on G, the second part enters on F, the third on E, and the fourth part on D. In a close score, this information would be presented as follows. Here, this sign, known as a pressor, shows where the parts enter, and the numbers indicate the intervallic distance from the leader's initial note, which is here at the second, third, and fourth below. Occasionally, different clefs are used to show this information. Here, for example, this canon could be scored as follows, with the tenor clef here indicating the note on which the leader begins and the bass clef showing the follower's initial note. One other sign, the coronata, indicates where the imitation stops. Here, for example, the canon in the leader finishes on this D, with the remaining notes leading to the cadence written in free counterpoint against the end of the canon in the follower. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.